Beast. Well, I'm sure you can guess who V is here.
Well, hello everyone. Hello. Nice to be with you again. Yes, just wanted to talk a little bit on the protests. And for those who have been on the demonstrations, the protests, whether small or large, many, I'm sure, will be wondering where it's all heading to. Has it ground to a halt? Will we ever get out there again? As now spring is coming, will we be still all locked down, etc.? Well, myself and Lee have attended some large protests and smaller ones, and it's great when you're with thousands of people. You feel confident, you feel you're all one of the same cause. But when we are in our own towns, villages, cities, what vision do we have after a year of being put under confinement with the fines and the tyranny? Many of us ground down, and many becoming apathetic, feeling, what can we do? It's a waste of time. And not just that, the motivation factor. Do I feel motivated to even do anything? Because if we allow our feelings to totally crush us, many of us won't even want to get out of bed in the morning. But there are things we can do in personal health, through eating well, through vitamin tablets, maybe doing a little bit of exercise, maybe a jog around the block. Nothing too heavy, but there's little things, and you always feel better after a bit of exercise. And with regarding personal protests, this is something I want to share simply, some things I've been doing in my own area. And firstly, I'll just take you through a few bits of how to go about this, because you'll need a few things. If you've got, protest things like this, you would hold up, and some of these the censors may not be happy with, so I'm not going to display front and back on all of them, but I'll just show you a few. And just to give an illustration, so there's a few of them. Now, you need to find, first of all, a bit of cardboard, and I have quite a bit of it at work. We're doing orders and cardboard boxes. I've got no shortage of cardboard, but if you can find some decent size cardboard, keep it if you've had things through Amazon or various other things. Around this size is quite handy, not too big, not too small. I've got a couple of pieces here that are glued together, or put bits of sellotape on just to keep them firm together, and then you can have the tape. I go over with the brown tape just to cover it front and back, and then a similar one to this, thick tape, transparent. Then you get your white typewriting paper, just an A4 size, and you buy your felt tips, different colours, and you're off. You've got your slogan, you've written it out, you've spelt it correctly, a bit of Prit, stick it on, and then get your transparent tape like this over it, so the weather conditions, if it's not so good, it starts raining on you, it's not going to destroy the whole thing. So you've got your protest things. Now, some of you may say, well, I can't do that. What would my neighbours think? No, I can't. Fair enough. I don't like doing it either. So I've got one of the old Guy Fawkes masks that I've worn in London and different places. Sometimes I have the mask on. There's loads of them there with the masks, and sometimes I don't. I have the old Guy Fawkes one. So I would go out normally with a bag as well, with another placard that I can't show because it may not go down too well. And I'd have that on the back of my rucksack so people can read it from behind. And then because it's front and back, I'm holding up 2 boards there, and I walk. I've got my route. I leave the house, put all this stuff in the bag, and when I get a few streets away, out comes all my stuff, on goes my gloves, no one knows who I am, and off I go, right? And what I've found is you will have a mixed bag of receptions. Cars slow down to read it. Now, you will get the good with the bad. It's inevitable. On one hour and a half walk, I had 3 abusive people throwing abuse at me, but I had some very good conversations with people stopping, talking with me, and also I had about 10 cars honking the horns with thumbs up. So you look at it overall and you think you're going to get mixed bag of receptions, but it's something you can do. And then when you come back, you can take all this stuff off if you don't want your neighbours to see you, put them in the bag, and in you come, and nobody knows any different. So I've had police cars go by, they've not troubled me, because we are allowed, is this right, Lee? To protest with 1 or 2 people. You can even do it with 2 people.
Look at I stop you from going out for a walk, yes, have they?
Yeah. So this is something we can actually take advantage of and do. And I just thought I'd share that as an encouragement, because you imagine instead of 10,000 people at Trafalgar Square running about with a riot squad after them, we changed tactics and you got 10,000 all out in their own. It would create police havoc. They wouldn't know what to do or how to deal with you. They'd spend the whole days looking for people because you would be everywhere. Isn't it? So, something to consider. Let's not despair. Now, I'm going to change to something totally different. I'll put this away. Let me just take this off. Excuse me a second. You can just say a few bits, Lee, while I'm...
Yeah, I mean, I've done the same, and what I've found, I can't say it puts me off, but it's a ball ache with people when they have a go at you. And we was just me and Marty earlier on, we was just laughing about a similar thing I remember from the 1980s. You don't see it so often these days. But me, always being into my motorbikes, you'd spot stereotypes and different types of people into the motorbike scene, you see. And there was all, like I say, it don't happen very often now, but in the 80s, there was always a certain type of character. It was always a middle-aged bloke, about as old as I am now. And he always used to wear pseudo police gear, so to be the plain black suits and the white open face helmet, or a white full face sometimes. But they'd usually have a white BMW R series, you know, like the old R100 or the R80, but police bikes. And they wouldn't have the radios on them and the sirens and the blue lights, but they'd probably have an orange stripe down the sides and the panniers. And they used to ride around, and you can see that they used to like playing policemen, and the same sort of characters. They look different now, but they're exactly the same sort of thing. You shouldn't be doing that. That's naughty. That's morally wrong. You shouldn't have. Mind your own bloody business. Yeah. You know, I ain't breaking the law. Don't try and police me. I'm not breaking the bloody law. Dear me.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to switch topics now, and I'm going to just share a few music CDs that I like. This links back to Lee's talk on music, where he was going through many of his favourite albums, and looking and commenting. And I listened to the Stranglers one that you mentioned before you came. Yeah. Very interesting, North Wind Blowing. Yeah. Yes, you can see parallels of things today. So I'll come to the music, but I just want to finish off with one funny football story that I did not include on the talk on the end of sport. Now, this often is off the cuff. Sometimes when we think of a topic, we have a few notes, but mainly it's off the cuff and it's spontaneous. And it's very easy, if you're doing a 15-minute talk or whatever, to forget something you wanted to include. So this one belongs in the end of sport. And this is a true story that happened with a football referee, famous football referee from around here. He came originally from Wolverhampton.
Don't make him a bad person.
Jack Taylor. And he refereed the 1974 World Cup final. So he must have something about his refereeing to get that. And but he was refereeing this game with Luton Town. And Eric Morecambe was on the board of Morecambe and Wise. So as Jack Taylor is leaving the pitch, somebody lobs this penny at him and hits him in the face. And so he really cocked one and it was bleeding a bit and he's going off clutching his face like this. And he gets home and the doorbell goes and he goes to the door and it's Eric Morecambe. And he says, you know how Eric Morecambe, I don't know, you know, come on, Jack, you know, and hello, Eric. He says, come in. And so, how are you keeping? Yeah, well, fine, you know. He says, how are you feeling with the, you know, it's okay now, Eric. He says, I'm doing okay. He says, can I ask, he says, Jack, are you going to pursue this, you know, with the police or... No, Eric, he says, these things happen. I'm all right now. I'm not, just forget about it. He says, so you won't be pursuing it with the Football Association or... He says, no. He says, good, can I have my penny back? Oh dear.
I like it.
Oh dear me. Anyway, we'll move on now to the music. And
we got about 8 minutes.
About 8 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
I'll run through this quick. I won't keep you long.
Okay.
So here we go. I shared on a previous one where I was doing the sketches on funny stories from the past, and I mentioned I liked country music and bluegrass music, folk music, and here's a good quiz question. There are two music forms, music genres that came from the United States of America that did not appear anywhere else in the world until they appeared in America. And which two can you think of? Which two music forms? Well, one of them is jazz. And the other one is on this t-shirt. So I'm just going to undo this t-shirt. And here it is, one of my favourite bluegrass, the father of bluegrass music, Bill Monroe and the Bluegrass Boys. So there he is, Bill Monroe. Now, with bluegrass music, the thing that's distinctive about it, Bill Monroe often referred to it as folk music in overdrive. And there's 5 key musical instruments that make up a traditional bluegrass music band. Some of them today, the modern bluegrass scene, will have bits and bobs, 3 of these and other instruments. But these are the 5 that a purist will immediately recognise. That's the lead guitar, the stand-up bass, the fiddle, the banjo, and what Bill Monroe has got here, the mandolin. And when they're all going at it, really worked up, it's as Bill says, it's folk music in overdrive. Now, the whole country music scene, it's a big thing with many different aspects. There's country pop and country rock, and there's the traditional, the purists, and all sorts of different types. Lee mentioned he liked the Rick Rubin, the Johnny Cash, and of course Johnny Cash has been a big favourite of mine. There's one song here, do you remember that one, Rusty Cage?
Oh yeah, 9 Inch Nails, I think.
Yeah, very relevant, you know, I'm gonna break my rusty cage and run. I'm gonna break my rusty cage and run. Yeah. So yeah, Johnny Cash, And of course, Bill Monroe, of course, I've got all his stuff on different things. Bill Monroe, the father of bluegrass music. You've got Don Williams, a very soothing melodic sound. He had a few #1 hits. He sort of country type of pop from the 70s. You're My Best Friend, different songs like that. I think someone on the comments said I had a very soothing voice. Thank you for that. Yes.
We get a better class of comments,
Yeah.
right? So on this channel,
Yeah. A few gospel singers. Larry Norman, Only Visiting This Planet, something to remember for all of us. Keith Green, Jesus Commands Us to Go. And bluegrass gospel, Ricky Skaggs, Soldier of the Cross. I used to go, when I was first introduced into the country music thing, with a mate, we used to go on a Wednesday night down the Narborough Road to a pub with this area, a big large room at the back called the Jester's Lounge. And there used to be a guy who'd come from Nottingham with all these LPs and sell them to people, and there was magazines update on gigs and things going on, and I learnt a lot through going there. And they would have a live band, British band, every Wednesday night, and I came across through that Waylon Jennings and Willie Nelson, a big I really like Willie Nelson stuff, all Willie Nelson stuff really. Shotgun Willie, Yesterday's Wine, The Red-Headed Stranger, and he switched to a sort of, he did a few different styles of music. I played this one at the wedding reception where we're all sitting down eating as a low-key, very melodic, nice sound to it. He's singing some of the old traditional songs, Stardust and Blue Skies and Don't Get Around Much Anymore. Very nice background music. A number of people commented immediately, what's this? Where do you get that from? And can I get hold of a copy? So that is an indication people really enjoyed it. And then there was Tom T. Hall. He used to write other people's country music, and he was known as the storyteller. And then people said to him, why don't you do your own, sing your own stuff? So he did. And Old T, he would refer to himself as Old T often in some of his songs. Folk music, David Francie. He was originally from Scotland, moved as a child to Canada, married to a Canadian lady, and he writes all his own stuff. Looks a bit like John Lennon there, and he's well worth listening to. One of my favourite singers today. And again, with folk music, Bruce Cockburn, Salt, Sun and Time, great album. Kieran Kane, You Can't Save Everybody, and that's true. You can't. Ray Bonneville, he often plays mouth organ and guitar, and he's some stark themes sometimes he has, you know. And but if you're in the mood, you can put some of that on. Now here's one, Peter Rowan. Pete Rowan, I came across. I went to with a mate. This would be going back to about 1981. We went to a pub in Nottingham. We heard that he was singing there with a few of his musicians, and what a great evening that was. Just having a few jars of beer, a small crowd of people, and this is a few pictures of the gig. Me and Pete Rowan there. I'm a young man there, as you can see, and there's another one. Me in the middle, Pete Rowan and the fiddler who was with him. That's one of his albums, Texican Badman, one of the first albums I got. Really like that one. And of course, Pete Rowan was one of what you found was in the early days of bluegrass music, some of the young musicians playing with him branched out to do their own music. Flatt and Scruggs was a perfect example, and became as big as Bill Monroe. And there was other musicians. Pete Rowan was one, and he began writing his own stuff, branching out. And Del McCoury was another one who was a bluegrass boy who began his own band, the Del McCoury Band. And that's a country music guy called Mo Bandy. Just met him at a gig as well, photographed there. And then a more modern type of thing, modern bluegrass band, totally sort of different sound, but modern type style of songs with some different instruments, but it's clearly bluegrass style, is the Punch Brothers, who I enjoyed seeing with Jane in Birmingham when they came. Okay, that's it.
Right. Excellent. We'll be back later. What do we say?
God bless.
God bless.